other host, Dylan Holiday, on with us, which you just saw just a little while ago go live with some of the latest updates and some of the news that was going on. But finally, I was able to make it to my computer and I told him, look, dude, we've got to go live again. And he agreed. So, Dylan, welcome back, man.
Yeah, I hated to be the one that has to go live solo, but there was news that was breaking and I wanted to inform everybody.
There's actually a lot of breaking news. There's a lot of stuff going on right now around the world. And one of the problems that people are talking about right now is, of course, that a lot of people aren't doing what they're supposed to as far as self quarantine or staying off the streets or just not going out traveling unless they absolutely have to. And you're seeing that a lot, like these crazy spring breakers that are out on the beach, wanting to party. And I get that. I mean, heck, I did it myself many, many times, growing up. But during a pandemic like this, I mean, I don't think that's a great idea because although they're young, they're healthy, probably not a whole lot's going to happen to them. What's going to happen to the people that they come in contact with here once they come back from spring break if they're carrying the virus? And I mean, they got a real big possibility if they get on some of the older people, grandparents and so forth, of actually giving it to them, and they won't have such a great outcome.
I think that the issue that we're having with these folks who are deciding not to stay inside, I think that we're dealing with people who don't have the knowledge to look at things not in the term. These people aren't looking at things in the short term, they're looking at things in the long run, and they're saying, hey, me going out and spring breaking rather, how's that going to affect me or anyone else? They're throwing caution to the wind here. Luckily, it seems like most of these people have now gotten that message and they have been sent home by the different states in charge of that. But yeah, man, these spring breakers are fucking wild.
Yeah, I mean, Miami Beach, wall to wall people. Thank God the mayor said that's it. And he shut the beaches down. Hopefully, he wasn't too late. Here in Texas, South Padre Island was just wall to wall people. Nobody gave a crap. I mean, it was incredible to watch these kids. I mean, they have no sense of urgency. They don't care. And they're just out there for a good time, and they don't give a crap who brought this shit to. And that's the bad part. So if you're one of those spring breakers, I'm calling you out right now. This is not good. You're going to be spreading this stuff even worse. And I mean, granted, I mean, this is not something to panic over, but at the same time, let's limit the exposure to this stuff so that we don't get people sick or get people or have people die because of our incompetence and not doing what we're supposed to stop the curve of this virus.
Yeah, Corona is one of those interesting things that we still don't know everything about, and until we know more, we really need to be as cautious as we can be. Stay indoors, don't leave unless you absolutely have to, and we talked on the last show when we went live about people not just bumming all the resources. That's still true. I've noticed that stores have started to get a little bit of a stock. That doesn't mean you should go out and buy everything up again. Other people need their share as well. I hope that we can find some type of system that works, because there are people right now who are simply going without. And that's a rough life to live, especially for the foreseeable future. We don't know how long we're going to be in quarantine here.
Well, we went out and did some grocery shopping the other day, and the shelves are still picked bare. People are still buying up all the toilet paper, buying up all the eggs, buying up all the milk. Luckily, as far as eggs go, I'm covered there. I've got chicken, so we're good on eggs. But I mean, there's a lot of people who are they don't have the luxury of having, say, chickens. I was over at a Tractor Supply as well, gathering up some feed. And they were telling me over there that people were buying up all the small chicks because they don't have eggs, not realizing that it's going to be a good 8-10 months before these chickens even start laying eggs. So, I mean, it's people are getting desperate. They're actually thinking long term, because if they know anything about chickens, they know it's going to be 8 to 10 months, before these things start laying. So, I mean, but it's like people are preparing for the worst, and there's no need to panic. We're not running out of food. We're not running out of gas. We still going to have toilet paper. Just, stop buying it all up so that people can have what they need to survive day by day.
Yeah, it's rough because in my time we've never had a crisis like this. I believe this is my first state of emergency. Eddie, I'm sure you've had a couple in your 140 years of life, but us young,
Well,
youthful, beautiful.
since yeah, since the earth began, I mean, it's
Yeah,
been pretty much like this. I mean,
yeah,
and we get over it. This
yeah.
isn't something that's going to be here forever. You know, um, People need to understand that by hoarding all this stuff, I mean, all you're doing is hurting everybody else. You're not doing any good for yourself. You're not doing any good for anybody else. And there's really no need, because I mean, these things are going to pass. And I feel that our administration right now is bending over backwards to make sure they do everything they possibly can to help the American people get through this, to get over it. I mean, I haven't seen a reaction like this in forever. Obama, when he was in office, there was he had what was it, the H1N1 that came along when Obama was in office. I mean, thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of Americans died because of that before he even shut the borders. And you didn't see panic like this. You know, um, I think that was something worse than what we have going on right now.
See, I don't know. First off, let me just say that I do agree with you that for once, I do think the administration is doing everything in their power. And at this point, their power is limited. They're doing everything in their power to do what they think is right, and what they think is going to work for the American people, which is admirable. However, you can't compare corona to other diseases because it's not like or viruses, rather. It's not like other viruses. It's its own thing. It has a very rapid spreading process. It has a very rapid process of attacking your body, and in some cases killing you. It's not like other viruses or even diseases that we've seen. Those other like the swine flu, we kind of had it nipped in the ass right when it got here. Corona is a different demon, Eddie. It's a very different demon. And I don't I feel bad for the administration because I know they're doing what they can.
Well, I see that, uh, looking at all the stats, everybody's, for the most part, is happy with everything that the administration is doing right now in order to curb this threat. And like the president said, I mean, this is a full out war on this virus. And he's having to do everything he can to release different types of funds from different areas in order to get those funds back to the American people where it belongs, in order for us to be able to get through this. And for that, I applaud him. And I think everybody else should as well. But we all need to do our part in order to try and curb the spread of the coronavirus, in order to be able to limit the exposure we're having to all these people. But if you got to work, you got to work. And we understand that. But, try your best to limit your exposure to people and who you're around. You just never know who's carrying it.
I do wish that the administration would would talk about this subject with a little bit more of tact. I understand, I understand why people are using terms like the Chinese virus. I understand it. I get it. But I don't think now is the time to be giving these kinds of things cute little nicknames. Um, Eddie, it's probably not the right time to call coronavirus the Kong flu.
The Kong flu, that's doesn't really fit. But the Chinese virus, the Wuhan virus. I mean, these are things that do fit. I mean, you've got all these other viruses in the past, the Spanish flu, all these different types of viruses that came out that were in pandemics that were named from the countries they came in. It has nothing to do with any type of people having any bad ill toward the Chinese or anything else. It's simply where it came from. And, you've got a lot of people going, well, I don't think that's right, and blah, blah, blah. Well, you know what? Throughout centuries, it's been called what it's been called. Wherever the flu was originated. Well, even though the Spanish flu didn't originate in Spain, they were the first ones to actually find the virus, label it, and what have you. That's why it was termed the Spanish flu. But either way, I mean, these are not racist remarks at all.
Mhm.
This is a country of origin where this flu came from. And the second thing is, you know, why worry about such petty stuff as far as what it's being called because it came from that country? Worry about how to try and fix it. And these people are all worried, oh, well, it's racist, and it's not racist, it's nothing. They need to leave that shit alone and worry about doing what they can in order to try and prevent the virus. Let's worry about what's important, not this petty bullshit where they're talking about, oh, it's racist and whatever else, because it's not. And that right there is what pisses me off the worst. Is that they will pick and choose every little thing they can find in order to try and rag the president during even a pandemic. This is, I mean, to me, that's just ludicrous. I can't believe these people are doing what they're doing. I mean,
I will agree with you that we should focus on the bigger thing at hand, but I think a little bit of tact on both sides would go a long way. I think being tactful at this time is the best thing that we can do because you don't want these stereotypes getting out. You don't want people having, you don't want people discriminating against groups of people. And I'm sure that we will see that in the coming weeks, and I hope we don't. And I'm not even blaming Trump for that. I'm blaming the stigma around the COVID-19. But I do think we should be handling this particular subject with a little bit more tact and not giving it cute little nicknames. I think we need to call it what it is, which is the coronavirus or COVID-19. And
well, just like Ray Alabot says right now on here, he says Hong Kong flu in the 1980s. I mean, it's not a racist remark. It's simply stating where it originated from.
And I'm not saying I'm not saying that it's a racist remark. I just think we can handle things with a little bit more tact here in 2020. I do understand where you're coming from, where you're saying these are how things have been titled since ever. But I don't think that's necessarily the way to look at things. I think when we're at times like this, everybody should try to have a little bit of a progressive mind. And while the pandemic is first and foremost, we should definitely just be tactful. Eddie, would you read what Ray posted there?
Let me put that up on the board. Go ahead.
All right. What is BS is the Chinese government sat on this problem for way too long. That is the main reason why we have it here. I agree with you 100%. I think that the Chinese government did sit on it too long. I think that even though we knew about it in advance, we didn't know how to better defend our borders, and we also didn't want to create. We obviously didn't want to create a false alarm, so we couldn't just shut down the borders. I do agree with you, though, that they definitely sat on this way too long. Having said that, I don't know if any country would have done any better with something like this.
Well, I think the United States is set to handle something like this more than pretty much any other country. So I don't think there's going to be an issue as far as that goes. I think that if anybody can help solve the problem and fix it, it's going to be the United States. And we have some of the best doctors, best scientists that are out there working overtime right now in order to correct this problem. And I think if anybody's going to be able to do something with it, we are. And I'm really, I'm glad that we live here and not in one of these other countries. I mean, take Spain, for instance. Spain is getting drug under the across the rocks. I mean, they're terrible right now, although they are having some improvement. The other day, they did have over 400 die in one day from the coronavirus, and I think that's really sad. But they are running out of materials. They're running out of out of supplies, and not only that, but also they need help with medical staff and what have you. But they're doing the best they can, although they've had a large number of deaths over there, which is just incredible. They did have a lady that was over 100 years old and diabetic survive the flu. She did get the flu, but she did survive, which is really a good thing.
Italy is another one. Italy is being slammed. Their death toll rose 30% in one day, which is wild. Um, when you think of how small Italy is in the broader means, it really is quite sad when 30%. Their death toll is raised 30% in a day. Eddie, this is a wild time. It's a wild time for people who aren't in America, but it is also a wild time for people who are in America. And I think I think America tends to set the example. They tend to set the precedent. And I think that this is definitely a time when we need to just follow the instructions that the leaders are giving us. It's funny. I saw this, and Eddie, this might be, I'm asking you to go back here, but me being young, it's like we're all in elementary school again. And there's a couple of kids that just don't want to follow instructions. So we're all being punished. The whole class is being punished. And I mean, unfortunately, we're being punished with the death. But those spring breakers are those rowdy little assholes, in grade school that just couldn't follow directions. And now the rest of us are going to have to pay those consequences along with them.
Yeah, and and it's really sad. I mean, because this is something that's going to continue on even longer unless people actually pay attention and do what they're supposed to do in order to fix the problem. And I mean, and sooner or later, I think if people don't start listening and don't start doing what they're supposed to, it's eventually going to get to the point where all the cities are going to have to lock down. Texas right now is one of the least, I guess you could say, the least forceful as far as having people stay home. They're hoping everybody's going to do what they're supposed to, and so forth and so on. But a lot of these other cities, such as California, New York, they're really having to enforce it because so many people are out moving around, even with it in place. Now, granted, it's nothing like it was before, and people are doing everything they can there as well, I'm sure. But you still have those people that refuse to do what they're told or don't think that this is a big deal, or it can't happen to me, or if it does happen to me, it's not a big deal. I'm strong enough, I can fight it off. But they don't realize that they're going to be getting other people sick as well. And that's the problem. Whether you want to get yourself sick and take a chance, that's up to you. But at the same time, don't go around other people and get them sick, because there's some people that don't have immune system strong enough in order to ward off that virus, and you're going to kill them. End of story.
Yeah, this is the other thing is there are some people like yourself, Eddie, that just have to work. There are some people that don't get the opportunity to stay home. Eddie, I'm sure you would love nothing else more than to stay home with Elsa and the kids, but unfortunately, you don't have that luxury. You have to go out and work.
Right.
Um,
And it's a must. And if the city shuts down though, and we're unable to get the permits and stuff like that for some of these road closures and things that we do, it's going to put a stop to all of us working. Once a city shuts down or shuts their doors, that's it. I mean, even for police officers like myself who do a lot of the road closures and stuff like that to earn a living, I mean, it becomes very tough, very hard. And I feel for the people right now, and the restaurant owners and the people that are out there, bussing tables, and the waitresses and things of that nature, and hostess that depend on tips. They depend on the restaurants being open, or they're not making any money whatsoever. I mean, how are they going to feed their kids? How are they going to feed their families? I mean, it's really, really bad.
and not only that, but me being one, I'm feeling for the content creators right now. And the reason that I do is a lot of people are doing these kinds of things and making a living off it. And our videos are being falsely demonetized. And because the folks who are supposed to be going over these things and seeing to it that our videos are monetized aren't working, because they aren't working, now we can't make money. So content creators are having it rough. And I said it last time and I'll say it again. I do feel for folks who are losing out on their season, students. High school students, and seniors, and college students that are seniors, baseball, softball, track, so many other spring sports, in possibly summer sports. These guys are missing out on seasons. This is a time in their life that they're never going to get back, and that to me, my heart goes out for those people, but also people who are directly affected by Corona. I'm lucky enough, Eddie, that I have not yet been directly affected by Corona. I don't know anyone who has Corona. No one that I know has passed away of Corona. Let's hope it stays that way.
Well, you've also got 10,000 rolls of toilet paper because you just moved.
Everybody gave us toilet paper. Yes, that's true. I have all of the toilet paper.
So if y'all need toilet paper, go see Dylan.
And ass wipes.
Pennies on the dollar.
I have ass wipes.
I think you even sell a sheet at a time, don't you?
Yeah, we'll sell them a sheet at a time. 10 cents a. Listen, we got 10 cents a sheet, and then I'll cut the ass wipes up into little squares, and we'll sell those for 20 cents a square. Oh boy, Eddie, is there anything else in the news? Should I go back over anything, or we?
Let me look here right now. Let me put on my spectacles and remove my Chihuahua for a moment.
Not the pup.
Well, of course, we have.
Oh, Eddie, I have breaking news. North Korea,
first senator to announce coronavirus diagnosis and quarantine, and you went over this earlier.
Eddie, Dylan. I have breaking news, brand new news right now. Can you hear me?
What do we got?
Breaking news. Yeah. North Korea says that President Trump has offered to help fight coronavirus outbreak. President Trump has sent a letter to North Korea's leader, Kim Jong-un, and expressed his willingness to help the country combat the coronavirus outbreak, North Korea had said on Sunday, which is today. This is reported from The Hill, the New York Times, and several other independent news people. So yeah, Eddie, we are going to be assisting North Korea. What do you think about that?
Very awesome. Well, and like we talked about earlier, we talked about the fact that China waited so long before they actually told anybody about this virus outbreak. If they would have told us sooner, the United States would have been more than happy to send people over there to assist in trying to combat this virus before it got out of hand and started spreading all over the world. They were very negligent in this. The fact that, we've got outbreaks everywhere, including North Korea. And we've got people that can help. There's no reason why we shouldn't put heads together to try and wipe this thing out. So regardless of whether it's China, North Korea, Russia, anything like that, we need to get people and get boots on the ground to try and get this thing under control and get it wrapped up, share information so that we know what's working, what's not working, and get this thing, we can continue our lives without the bother of this virus hitting everybody.
Tax day, Eddie, has also moved to July. Secretary of Treasury Stephen Munich announced tax day has been moved from April 15th to July 15th under the direction of President Trump as a result of the coronavirus pandemic. Now,
does that include the filing of your taxes, or do you still have to file by the date?
It does. Let me look at Steve Munchnick's tweet. At Real Donald Trump's direction, we are moving tax day from April 15th to July 15th. All taxpayers and businesses will have this additional time to file and make payments without interest or penalties.
Okay, so they're extending the date to file as well, which is good.
I already filed my taxes. Does that mean
a lot of people that are going to be confined?
But now, does that mean that those of us that already filed are going to get our taxes back sooner, or no?
I don't think it's going to be any sooner. I think everything's going to stay pretty much the same, as far as if you have any monies coming back to you from your taxes. But also, as well, as you know, talking about giving each individual $1,200, which filed taxes last year will be automatically deposited in your bank. And if not, you are going to have to wait for a check to get those additional $1,200. They're also looking at giving married couples, I think, extra,
For
and
children.
as well as if you have, as well
Yeah.
as children. If you have children, they're going to be given $500 as an extra bonus in that check, which should be deposited directly to your bank account, hopefully starting within the next 3 weeks. So that's what we're looking at so far, and we are hoping that everything gets passed and goes through with no issues. Now, go ahead.
You know, the first time we tried this in the United States, it failed terribly. It's something called Reaganomics.
Well, like I said, I'm hoping that everything works, goes through. I don't have my hopes up that it's going to until I see a deposit. But whether it does or not, I mean, at least there's an attempt being made, and they're trying to push this through. And I don't see any reason why it shouldn't, because technically all this is our money anyway.
Yeah.
And instead of spending on, God only knows what pet projects some of these senators and stuff have going on, it needs to come back to the people right now. And
I think the issue is, anytime you're talking about giving taxpayers untaxed money, even if it is their own money, I think there's issues. And I think that's what the issue we'll see to persist moving forward.
So do you think eventually they're going to try and tax the money they give you?
Precisely. That is exactly what I think is going to happen.
Well, maybe not. We'll have to wait and see what happens.
I think it'll be like the bank. I think you'll have to pay it back. I think they'll have no problem giving you the money, but I think you will have to pay it back.
Well, like I said, I mean, either way, I mean, it's something. It's not a lot, but it's something that'll help people, at least for the meantime, until hopefully they can get this thing thought through and get something going as far as the vaccination and things of that nature. Now, I do know vaccination normally takes between a year to year and a half to create. However, right now they're trying to do it in half the time. We'll have to wait and see if that actually happens.
The other thing is with are the people who have made the COVID-19 their entire life. I think we'll definitely be able. Wow, that's a long comment. I think we'll definitely be able to find a cure. Eddie, would you pull that up to make it a little easier for me?
Let me see here.
I don't know what they are fighting over, but Pelosi said it was a no-go. A senator from California is putting something on the floor. It will be taxed. It will be taxed, I'm sure. I'm out of work as of 5 minutes ago. Well, Ethan, we're so sorry. You, much like so many others, are out of work. Hi, Lorelei. I did see you there. I'm so happy to see you. Lorelai's a personal friend of mine, Eddie, so she's joining the show. Yes, the government will always want their piece. Nothing is free. Eddie, is this one of the times where I have a different view than you and mine's not like the progressive view? Are you thinking that they're not going to tax this money?
No, not at all. And, like I said, I think it would probably surprise me if they didn't. I think they're going to, but it would really surprise me if they said, you know what? We're not going to tax this money because, the hardships everyone's facing. I would be surprised. Okay. I know they're talking about loans for small businesses and so forth. And these are loans. They will have to pay them back at an incredibly low interest rate, of course. But, this is for the small businesses to be able to make payroll and things of that nature in order to be able to pay their people. But I don't know, man. I mean, this is weird times, and we're kind of we're in uncharted territory as far as that goes. So we're going to have to wait and see what actually transpires and takes place, because I mean, right now all we're kind of doing is second guessing.
And none of us have any idea what the hell's happening. None of us who aren't in Senate. And by the way, with Ron Paul, having the COVID-19, God knows if we're going to have like a government shutdown in the midst of all this shit. No one has any idea what's going on. It's very scary times for the citizens because we are completely in the dark.
Yeah, and like I said, we're in uncharted territory, and we're having to take this, step by step, day by day.
Mm.
We don't know what exactly is going to take place, what the government's going to end up doing to help. Um, I honestly, in all my millions of years of being on Earth, this is the first time that I've seen anything this bad.
Mhm.
Honestly, I've been through all kinds of pandemics and scares and that kind of a thing and what have you, but this is the first time I've seen it this bad. This is the first time I've seen it to where people are in this much of a panic. Cities are shutting down. I mean, you never saw this happen before, and we did have lots more people die, but I really think they've got this more or less under control as of right now, as long as people do what they're told and they don't get out there and start spreading this thing. The spring breakers, idiots, all of them, idiots being out there. Like I said, I've been a spring breaker. I've been out there. I've partied. I've been on Daytona Beach. I've been at South Padre Island. I've done all that. But I get where they're coming from. But at the same time, this is no time to play party animal or big hero, because it's not going to work.
Eddie, as someone who works in the streets, meaning you, and I don't mean that you're a whore, have you noticed a steep decline? Well, maybe you already. I see those eyes. Have you seen a steep decline in people out in the streets, or is it about the same as it was before? You live in a pretty major area.
No, it's actually, you don't see that many people out on the streets here in San Antonio. And you do see people, of course, driving around, but it's more, instead of like the busy streets like we had it during the day, where you had bumper to bumper and cars packed into red lights, and you were trying hard not to get run over, because there were so many vehicles on the road. Now it's more like a Sunday drive,
Yeah.
if that makes sense to you.
Yeah.
A lot fewer on the street.
Ethan says that Baltimore has droves of people hanging out like it's a vacation. One comment above. Um, you know, that's wild to me. First off, Baltimore being a major HUD, I don't see it as a spring break resort by any means. I guess there's something happening in Baltimore the rest of us don't know about. Yeah, it's pretty dead here. All the stores are shut down. It's real quiet, which is real scary for where I'm at. It's never quiet here. But I haven't heard sirens. I haven't heard anything, Eddie. We were talking about it, that every 10 minutes there's a police, fire brigade hauling down the street by my apartment here. There's been nothing. It's been very quiet. And yes, also classes will now be held online. It's official.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
Neat.
our girls right now, they're getting all their classes sent to them online. They're doing their stuff online, and they're actually surprisingly very happy to do it that way. I mean, I thought, it was going to be one of those, we're going to have to be barking at them constantly in order to make them do what they're supposed to, but they're actually happily doing their courses online, taking care of what they need to do. And they're just glad they're not in school. So, and having to face this pandemic in school and be around all these kids, because let's face it, kids are nasty. They're dirty. They're going to be touching everything. And, you got going up and down stairs, you got the rails, you got the water fountains, you got the lockers, you've got, all the trays during lunchtime, everybody's sitting together, swapping spit, the whole thing. And so it's a nasty germ-filled environment. I'm glad they're not there. And so are they. And they're happily doing their work here at home. No issues, no problems. And they'd rather do it like that, I think, for the rest of their lives, if they could get away with it.
Yeah. Lori is saying that it's apocalyptic how quiet it is outside. And I agree with that. It's almost like the movie 28 Days Later, Dawn of the Dead. It really is like an apocalypse out here. I've seen pictures of New York, as I'm sure the rest of you guys have. Times Square is dead. There is nothing happening. A lot of the billboards are dark. It's a scary time. But as long as that's good though, because that means everyone's following protocol, and they're following it
and it's almost like driving onto the scene of The Walking Dead.
Yeah, and we want everyone to follow protocol for sure.
But I do have a theory that if the zombie apocalypse ever occurred, it's going to start in China.
Oh no. Oh no. Here's a discussion. I can feel it now. These comments are going to be roaring in. Um oh boy. What did you just open up? What did you just do?
A
Oh boy.
great can of worms,
Yeah,
literally.
you really did. Listen, if we don't have a lot of listeners, anyone who doesn't agree with you, Eddie, is sharing this to everyone now. We will wake up tomorrow with a fucking cataclysmic you can't say things like that. Oh god. Um you think China, Eddie? That's what you think?
I think the zombie apocalypse will start in China. They eat all kinds of nasty crap there,
Oh
so
geez, you're just really
it's just
you're
a
digging
matter of
that
time.
hole. You are digging that hole. See, I would think like oh god, now I'm in trouble. See, now I'm stooping to your level. I would think it would be, Europe. That makes the most sense to me. Oh, but the comments just from our people are running in.
There we
Sonia,
go.
she says, haha. Lori says, zombie ninjas. Ethan says, they shouldn't have been selling cats and dogs and whatever, and whatever in that market. Jesus Christ. Oh boy. All factual statements from my understanding. I could be wrong, but
Well,
I do
it's
believe that
true.
that is
I
the.
mean, I, dude, I'm not kidding you. I was so pissed off a couple of 3, 4 weeks ago, when I was watching some of these videos on Facebook, and they actually had some videos that they brought in from China where they were boiling dogs alive in like a giant stir fry. These dogs were burning up, and they were sitting there stirring them around while the dog was yelping and crying, and they were, and I mean, literally frying this dog alive. If they want to eat dog, that's fine, but don't make the dog suffer. And they were skinning these dogs alive. I mean, what that happened to them, dude, it was just a matter of time, before something bad happened. And unfortunately, it's spreading to the rest of the world, because they are, I don't know. I mean, I get it. It's their culture, but you know what? Their culture sucks when it comes to stuff like that. I mean, that's just BS.
I think that yes, the way that and I think we've all seen the videos recently of obviously the blatant animal cruelty that takes place not just over there but all over the world. I saw the videos just yesterday, the same videos that you saw, Eddie, and they're extremely rough to watch. Um,
Yeah.
and
I hate to say it, but I would be in prison over there in about half a second, because the minute I saw something like that, I would put a bullet in someone's head or cut their throat. There's no way I would be able to walk by, see that, and not take some sort of action. I would be in so much trouble, it wouldn't even be funny.
I mean, yeah, the videos are just wild. And I definitely, I can I always like to come to the defense of these kinds of things, like saying that's their culture, but there is a humane way to do things. Like, obviously, listen, Eddie, you and I are meat eaters. We're not vegan. We can't act like, we can't act like we don't harm animals to eat. Obviously, we don't do it, but I'm sure it's done in some other factory somewhere. But like, to me, the difference is the way that it's gone about. There's a humane way to do it. And we
Real quick, Ethan. That was China, by the way, on the monkey scene where they were eating the brains out of that live monkey.
yeah, we have comments. Their culture sucks. Sonia saw the same video as you, Eddie. These are wild times, and we just try to do everything as humanely as possible here in the
Yeah, I
United
mean,
States.
eating meat's fine, but don't torture
Yeah,
the animal that you're fixing to eat. I mean, it's simple as that. You don't sit there and boil a dog alive or skin a dog alive or whatever else you're doing, or eat chopping up a live octopus and eating it while its tentacles are still moving and all that. Oh, I know the tentacles probably move no matter what, but doing this kind of bad stuff to these animals, I mean, it's just that's just BS as far as I'm concerned. I mean, they think it's kind of a novelty or whatever, but it's all bullshit. But yeah, I would definitely be in trouble. I would be in prison, and I'd end up killing somebody in about half a second. I wouldn't even be able to get off the plane probably without doing something stupid.
We don't live boil cows. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we don't live boil cows. You know, that's kind of the difference that I see with us and these other cultures is that I would like to think that we do everything as humanely as possible. There's still a lot of room to get better. Some of the animals'
I
living
agree.
environments even here isn't great. But I think that we're doing the best that we can do as of right now, and we, like I said, we do have room to get better, and I hope we do very soon. Um, yeah, it's Corona really has put the world on halt, but it has brought a weird kind of unity out that I have not seen in a long while.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people are doing the best they can right now, and doing the best they can to help each other. I mean, I know right now they just put a new feature on this Nextdoor app, which if you've never heard about it, you can get it put on your phone, and you can basically sign up, and people around your neighborhood will be posting different things that's going on, and they put this new feature in there where you can ask for assistance if you need it, and people in your area will see it, and if people are able to, they can help that person, in any way they can. So I think that's a pretty good little thing that Nextdoor did for their app. But if you don't have it, grab it. I mean, you can see what's
Can you
happening.
tell us a little bit about the Nextdoor app, Eddie, and what it does? Just maybe try to sell the app a little bit. Obviously, we're not sponsored or anything, but just tell
Right.
us a little bit about.
Well, the Nextdoor app, if you get it, you can type in the name of your neighborhood, your zip code, that kind of a thing, and people in your area have a way to communicate. And you can put up to, I don't know, however many neighborhoods might be in your area. Like mine covers probably, I think, like 9 or 10 different neighborhoods, something like that. You lose a dog, you can post it on there with the picture. People keep an eye out for it. And the people on there are very involved, or at least they are here. And anything out of the ordinary takes place, it's going to be on there. You hear a gunshot. I live out in the country, so I mean, you hear gunshots once in a while. People will post, anybody else hear this gunshot? Blah blah blah. I live over here. Just wondering. And not only that, suspicious vehicles, burglaries, thefts, all that kind of stuff. People post on there so that you know what's going on around your neighborhood, and you can take proper precautions, or even look and see what's happening as well. You can uh, post different events that are taking place, and that kind of a thing. I mean, I've posted before where my dogs got out, and I had people, kind of looking around, keeping their eyes open for them. Luckily, I found them, but if I didn't, they would be posted out there, and people would be looking. So, I mean, it's a good little app to have. And now they've got a map which can show, if you need help, say you're elderly and you may not be able to get any groceries, and you need help getting groceries. And, of course, that you don't want these people to starve. If you have the ability and you're able to, you may be able to go out and get groceries for, some of these elderly people, and help them out by, taking it to them, and so forth and so on. So, I mean, it's a good thing to have.
Well, thank you, Eddie. I'm sure at least somebody is going to check it out. I think we should end it with this, Eddie. This is a news story that you're going to appreciate, unless you want to keep going, Eddie. By all means, I have all the time in the goddamn world. Um,
Well, we do have to
Politics.
prepare for paranormal analytical. We have to go live on that sometime today as well.
Oh, we're going live on Paranormal Analytical today. I'm
Yes,
so
we are.
excited. This is
We get talk
political
about
news.
ghosts and
Ooh,
UFO.
spooky, scary skeletons. Listen, the fucking corona is scarier than any ghost. Politics,
Well,
March.
it'll turn you into one.
Yeah, I guess so. March 20th, 2020. This is of ABC News. Trump's shifted tone on coronavirus has impacted his approval rating with Americans. Polling suggests an ABC News poll or survey, it says, released on Friday, found that 55% of U.S. adults approve of the president's management of the COVID-19 crisis. Trump's approval saw a 12% increase from a similar survey released last week, as more Americans become attuned to the pandemic and begin to change their daily routines in response to the disease. So that's pretty good for the Republican Party.
That is really good. And considering what he's up running against, my God, I mean, I think we're all in a world of hurt if Biden gets in there. Jesus Christ, that guy. Anyway, yeah, I think he's doing a great job, and I think most people will agree with that as well. But yeah, I mean, I think we should end it there. And I mean, we appreciate everybody joining in and commenting. It's always great to see you guys on here, and girls. We appreciate you being on here. Join Dylan and I a little bit later on when we go live with Paranormal Analytical, and we'll be talking about some really cool stuff that's coming up on that as well. So until next time, from myself and my family here in Texas, we want to wish everybody a very safe rest of the weekend and safe week. Hope you all are going to be doing well. Please try and stay safe and stay away from a lot of people. Stay indoors if possible, or just hang around your house if you live in an area where you don't have to be around too many. And hopefully we can all get through this together. So take care, and I appreciate it. Dylan?
I would like to first and foremost thank Lori for coming out. Lori makes sure Matt and Ty take care of themselves. Sonia, Ethan, thank you guys, and Raymond, thank you guys so much for all of your comments throughout. You guys really helped the show today, and we appreciate that, and we hope to do many more as we're quarantined here. I'm sure that I'll be doing more. Take care, guys, and just be as safe as you can be, and make sure you're following directions.
Absolutely. And until next time, you all be safe. You got any news or hear anything cool, send it our way. We'd like to post it and put it out. So take care, everybody, and we'll see you on Paranormal Analytical a little bit later.